Folks, thanks for joining us today. My name's John Dubas with Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next hour or so discussing a circumstance we're running into with greater frequency now for one reason or another, and that's dealing with folks that are coming on to Medicare off of Marketplace and the relationship between those two delivery systems of healthcare. You'll find that we are pretty exhaustive in a presentation we have for the marketplace. It is a piece taken from the Medicare Learning Network and is one of the presentations you can make to the public as well, either virtually or live if you are marketing in such a fashion. We are recording today's presentation and it will be made available on our website at premiersmi.com and on our YouTube channel as well. And the information will be available through your Premier Agent Success Manager, your marketer with our organization. You'll see in the software package that there is a section for questions and chat. We ask that you put your questions in the questions box. We will make certain that we address them as we go through the presentation, and if not so, that you will have an answer for those inquiries. I want you to get your full value out of today's presentation. We will also make certain that we have a level set as to who Premier Marketing is. We are aware that most people on the line have done business with us before, but for everyone, we are a national marketing organization founded in 1968. That's part of the Integrity Marketing Platform with offices across the country. We're licensed in all 50 states, and we offer insurance services to the public through independent insurance agents such as yourself with contracts at the highest possible commission levels with recruiting contracts available for those who qualify. And that is done through a full portfolio of products aged at our target demographic with the basic Medicare programs, the Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, prescription drug programs, the information in the programs available there. Very important for people in making a decision as to how they proceed with their health care. But we also offer a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity products, final expense and pre-need plans. Many people coming off of group policies or the marketplace policies don't have that life insurance covered, nor do they address the long and short-term care or disability income programs that may be needed to properly protect themselves and their families. We do also offer the ancillary benefits, the different dental, vision, hearing, critical illness, cancer, hospital indemnity, accident, and telehealth plans that many people need as a coverage for a specific need in their own circumstance. Those Medicare Advantage plans include all the national carriers. Currently, many of them are coming into the certification phase, as are the strong regionals that make a difference for you in your community. It's the time now to make certain that we're prepared for AEP and beyond with the carriers in your area. That same philosophy carries over to the prescription drug programs, where those programs are, in most cases, available as part of your contract with the Medicare Advantage carriers. A significant exception is the Medicare prescription drug plans offered by Mutual of Omaha. It's a separate adjunct policy, different than any of their other carrier coverages. And Clever RX is actually a discount plan and not a sanctioned prescription drug program. Medicare Supplements, an excellent choice for many folks coming off of other coverages. There's a strong portfolio of products in play there for you and systems to help sell and market and sell these programs as well. When we look at those ancillary programs in each of the different categories, you have the national leaders that are there for you to cover those specific needs, create additional marketing opportunities, and of course, create additional revenue streams for you and your agency. When we look at the Medicare market overall, you see that aging of the baby boomers, the silver tsunami, one every 10 seconds, 10,000 plus a day. If you're going based on age, very true. But we're finding a lot of folks are postponing full access to the Medicare system. Some of them because they are in a marketplace plan. Some of them because, well, they're continuing to work. They have group coverage, or for whatever reason it happens to be. There are some folks age 65 plus that aren't fully in the Medicare program. However, that number is made up by the folks that are under the age of 65 accessing Medicare benefits because of disability. So we've got an incredibly strong and robust market that pulls folks that may look at agents that look at different marketing opportunities and expand the ages that are part of that opportunity. That's because people have choices. And when we look at the marketplace, that's a choice for some people. As they come on Medicare, a little different animal. However, they can actually, Medicare beneficiaries in general, can actually decline Part B should they choose to do so. Thankfully, not many do. Some will then, however, just self-insure for the medical portion of it and pick up that standalone Part D program to help with medication costs. Some will take out the standardized, modernized Medicare supplement plans and pick up that D plan as well to cover the shortfall in the overall Medicare coverage. Some, of course, opt into the Medicare Advantage, the bundling of the programs into a singular piece offered by private insurance companies as well. All of these are valuable and valid options for people coming off Marketplace. We have, of course, a portion of those folks that, well, it's an even split as to how they are making that choice, and we want to make certain that we have the options there for them, whatever their choice may be. And doing so in many cases requires a translation of some of the language they're receiving from the government about their Medicare and from the market pressure itself, where your competitors are out there speaking to folks, and sometimes they're using the acronyms that, man, I don't know what that means. At this particular snapshot of the CMS website, you see 4,420 acronyms being defined. It's a big old world out there. It's hard to remember all of them. This is a great guide for us to make certain that we're properly translating the language that they're receiving and making us aware of the fact that if we use acronyms, we should do so sparingly, or at least make certain that we define them as part of our use. We see the general different enrollment periods that have a bearing on some folks coming off of Marketplace, but on some of the people, it's more of a special election period because of loss of coverage of one circumstance or another, and of course the special election periods. If that is the case, however, we have a market throughout the year as people make choices based on their personal decisions and how we can help them throughout the year as well. Because if they're doing some things on an annual basis, well, the majority of them aren't looking at their different coverages, and it's particularly affecting those that are particularly vulnerable. And it makes it interesting for us to make certain that we go through and make certain that even if they're looking at just drug coverage, we're helping them because they're not doing it themselves. They're not using the government material. They're not pulling down some of the electronic means of finding out what is covered under Medicare and what's not. And for the folks that are already on Medicare, that issue of Medicare and You that comes every October, either through the United States Postal System or through electronic means, well, that's a Bible and they're not reading entirely either. They're not looking at some of the recorded pieces. So we want to deliver information to them in the fashion that best suits their circumstance. We have an increasingly savvy portion of the Medicare population when it comes to electronic communication. And for folks that are coming out of a Marketplace plan, they may be even more adept at receiving information in that fashion and look for it in that fashion. So we want to make certain that the carriers and the marketing partners have the ability to get that information, provide the ability to you to get that information to the public in a virtual circumstance, or be prepared to combine it or in lieu of an in-person presentation of information. Because, since the pandemic's hit, there's been a lot of training for folks in this area on receiving information and services in that fashion. The doctors and the hospitals and the dentists and our churches even have trained the population to tune in and pick up that detail electronically. And that suits us just fine because we can do some things electronically. It helps us maximize the value of our time, minimize our windshield time, do a number of different things to benefit everyone involved in this process. So as we look at Medicare in the marketplace, we're addressing a number of folks that have chosen to work past age 65 or make other choices that have them on marketplace. And how do we then present to them what is available and how they walk through that circumstance? So we go to the presentation of Medicare in the marketplace from the national training programs with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. And see, I finally defined that SCP. And this gives us then the talking points and the walkthrough in a manner of speaking as to presenting to this population their choices. It also gives us, as presenting agents, the knowledge we need to make certain that we're doing a presentation that is factual and accurate and compliant. So you have this program that's set up by Medicare Learning Network and the national training programs to deliver upon that information. So as we go through these next number of slides, we're actually going through this presentation as a representation of the program that you can present to the public, but also as a informational piece for us as agents. And it's very robust in its presentation, but it gives us details that we can follow that fit different people's circumstances as well. So let's go and we'll talk about the different sections and how this can identify considerations. If an individual is enrolled in a marketplace plan and qualifies for Medicare due to turning 65, or disability, or end-stage renal disease, that will qualify them for Medicare before that age. It also speaks to those that are enrolled in a SHOP plan, a small business health options program coverage that qualify for Medicare, and explain the programs that can help pay for Medicare. We'll describe the periodic data matching program, the PDM, and we'll locate different Medicare and marketplace resources. So as we look at lesson number 1, we're looking for folks that are enrolled in a marketplace plan and qualify for Medicare by turning the age of 65. And what these folks should consider is, well, most people don't pay for Part A. If a person is on Medicare, they can no longer contribute to a health savings account. If they have Medicare, that HSA is no longer an option. If they're not eligible for marketplace premium tax credits and cost sharing reductions, those CSRs that lower the marketplace plan deductible copayment and coinsurance, well, they don't have that once they become eligible for the premium free Part A. And if a person isn't eligible for that premium free Part A, and the individual doesn't buy it when first eligible, well, they're subject to that penalty, that monthly premium that may go up 10% per year. And they'll have to pay that higher premium for twice the number of years that they could have had Part A but didn't sign up. So the penalty comes into play. When we look at how these folks should consider deciding to enroll in a Medicare Part B plan, the medical insurance, most people pay a Part B premium. And if an individual has Social Security or Railroad Retirement Board benefits, it can get deducted automatically from that benefit payment, which is the case for most individuals, particularly that have been in that system and have filed for those benefits before their Medicare comes eligible. And if the individual does not get Social Security or the Railroad Board benefits, there are 4 ways to pay the bill. They can pay online with a credit card or debit card. They can pay directly from the savings or checking account, a bank draft. They can sign up for Medicare Easy Pay, or they can mail their payment to Medicare. Boy, you're brave. The amount depends on income from 2 years ago. So we're looking at IRMA considerations. If you don't enroll in Part B, but you get it later, you may have to pay a lifetime late enrollment penalty here as well as a Medicare beneficiary. And it's important to note that the VA, the Veterans Affairs benefits, do not work with Medicare. We have different information pieces available for you on the IRMA and on the Veteran Affairs pieces as well. When we look at when a person must enroll in Medicare Part B, It's important if a person wants to buy a Medicare supplement plan, those Medigap policies, you've got to have both Part A and B. If you want to join Medicare Advantage plans, you have to have Part A and Part B. And if you're eligible for TRICARE for Life, TFL, or the Civilian Health and Medical Program of the Department of Veterans Affairs, CHAMP VA, in order to continue that coverage, once you are eligible for Medicare, you got to have Part B. You also have to have Part B if the employer coverage requires you or your spouse to have it. And these are what are technically called small group, those folks groups under 20 employees. So it's important that we speak to the eligibility based on the size of the group that we have. A question that's popped up, please address this question. If someone is eligible for A and B, even if they don't sign up for them, are they still eligible to get an ACA subsidy? And we do directly address that, but the quick answer is no. Once a person is on Medicare, they lose the subsidies for their ACA program. If a person enrolls in Medicare and has an automatic enrollment, these are folks that are getting Social Security or RRB benefits for at least 4 months before they turn 65. They're automatically enrolled in Medicare, and they get that IEP package, the Welcome to Medicare package, in the mail, along with the Medicare card about 3 months before they turn 65. And that coverage begins the first day of the month the individual turns 65. There are those that qualify for Medicare based on a disability, and these are folks that must be entitled to Social Security Disability Income Insurance, SSDI, benefits for 24 months. And on the 25th month, they're automatically enrolled in Part A and Part B. If a person has ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also called Lou Gehrig's disease, well, there's no waiting period for an individual who has and deals with that illness. Enrolling in Part B, enrolling in Medicare, the initial enrollment period, this is for folks that if you're not getting Social Security at least 4 months before turning 65, and many folks now, as we're getting into the tail end of the baby boomers, they're delaying Social Security to age 65 so they get their maximum benefit out of it. Well, they can, if they sign up for Part A, and they have to buy it, and Part B during IEP as well. This starts 3 months before the 65th birthday, the enrollment period, including the birthday month, and ends 3 months after the age of 65 birthday. You can enroll directly, or they'll need to enroll directly with Social Security or the Railroad Retirement Board, and the coverage begins based on the month that the individual enrolls. If a person has that end-stage renal disease, the ESRD, they may be eligible for premium-free Part A, but not required to sign up for Medicare. A new special notice is that lovely Welcome to Medicare piece, and it is mailed to the individual a few months before they turn 65 to inform them about their Medicare eligibility and changing health coverage, the next steps, when to enroll in Medicare, and the impact of keeping Marketplace coverage if enrolled in Medicare. So this is that great piece that helps educate everyone about the coverages, and also is sent prior to the time period that's required to get in penalty free. If a person misses the initial enrollment period, that IEP, they'll have to wait until the Medicare's general enrollment period, the GEP, which is January 1st to March 31st every year. That coverage then begins July 1st. And if there are more than 12 months passed since turning age 65, that lifetime late enrollment penalty can come into play. If a person is eligible for a Medicare special election period, the SEPs, that's SEP, if they've delayed Medicare because they're still working and had group health plan coverage, GHP, based on current employment, and there's no late enrollment penalty involved in that circumstance. If an individual has, appears I like that slide so much, I put it in there twice. Canceling Marketplace coverage due to Medicare eligibility, while ending Marketplace coverage due to Medicare beneficiary or eligibility, Medicare eligibility, is different depending upon who is ending the coverage. So we want to look at If someone is canceling the Marketplace coverage just for themselves, they can request that the coverage ends immediately, or there can be a requested date in the future. In some cases, the coverage won't end immediately. And an example of that is when there are household members who must remain enrolled in coverage to qualify for an SEP, and they must re-enroll. They can end Marketplace coverage by logging into the healthcare.gov account if they're the only one covered, or by calling the Marketplace call center to accomplish that same means. If we're looking to cancel the Marketplace coverage family plan, once again, they can call the Marketplace call center on the day they want the Medicare's coverage, or pardon me, the member's coverage to end. It's important to not change or end Marketplace coverage online unless you're ending coverage for everyone on the plan, which can be a big consideration for folks that have a primary eligible for Medicare and family members that are not. To end coverage for just some people, we need to call the Marketplace to ensure the correct end date. In most cases, the removed member's coverage will end right away. If we're looking to keep a Marketplace plan and Medicare, very pertinent for us right now. If a person has a Marketplace plan, they can keep it until the Medicare coverage starts. And if you like, you can keep the Marketplace too. But once your Part A coverage starts, this is a direct answer to the question earlier, you no longer qualify for advance payment of the premium tax credit, the APTC, or other cost savings you may be getting through the Marketplace plan. You have to pay that full price for that Marketplace plan, which is not inexpensive. And Medicare doesn't coordinate benefits with Marketplace plans. So having the Medicare and looking to keep the ACA program is not a benefit to the individual financially. If they're not eligible for a Medicare or a premium-free Part A, you can choose to stay in the individual health insurance Marketplace to get your coverage, and that coverage may cost less. So it's a consideration of folks and how they qualify for their Medicare coverages. We'll find that the vast majority of them do qualify for premium-free Part A, but not all circumstances there. So if you're looking to keep a Marketplace plan with assistance instead of Medicare, if you're eligible for Medicare and haven't enrolled into it because you'd have to pay that premium for Part A, or you have a medical condition that qualifies you for Medicare, like end-stage renal disease, ESRD, but haven't applied for the coverage, or if you're in that 24-month disability waiting period. So we want to make certain that the individual circumstances are addressed as well. If the person is enrolled in Medicare and is paying for a Part A, you can drop the Part A and Part B coverage and stay on the Marketplace plan instead. And if a person only has Part B, you'll have to pay a premium for Part A. You can drop Part B and get a Marketplace plan instead. These are more rare circumstances that we normally come into play with. It's for people that maybe expats in the country or whatever the circumstance is that doesn't allow for premium-free allowances within the Medicare program. So when we look at a lessons check at this particular point in time, we ask, when must the individual enroll in Part B? And it's important to note that one of the options is if you want to buy a Med Sup plan, if you want to join that Medicare Advantage plan, or if the employer coverage requires you or your family members to have it, less than than the small group circumstances. It's all the above. When we look at lesson number 2, we're looking at those individuals that are part and parcel participating in a small business health options program, SHOP, and how that relates to Medicare. You won't run into these as often as an individual in circumstances, but if you work the small group market, very pertinent. And SHOP coverage is actually coverage for small employers who want to provide health and or dental insurance to their employees. These are available through issuers, agents, and brokers, us, not through healthcare.gov. So a little different where SHOP plan, they can't go directly to a website and enroll the program that way. This may have a person to consider to delay their Part B enrollment if they have SHOP coverage, because this coverage from an employer through SHOP is treated the same as a coverage through an employer group plan. So it's coverage that does allow for premium-free delay of enrollment in the program. A question that pops up is that, or a comment, the ACA insurance website mentions that you are no longer eligible for ACA plans once you reach the age of 65, which is very true with the exceptions that we have addressed, because this is coming straight from CMS as well. When we look at when SHOP coverage ends, you have a special election period as a beneficiary, that SCP, to sign up for Part B without penalty. And this comes anytime when the individual is still covered by a group health plan through you or your spouse's current employment. And it's an 8-month period after SHOP coverage ends for that SCP, up to an 8-month period. You don't have to sign up during this step, but if you don't, you may have to pay that Part B late enrollment penalty for as long as you have Part B, and you can only enroll in Medicare's general election period. That's that January through March with the July 1st effective. So checking upon a checkpoint here is you must also enroll in Medicare Part B if you have SHOP coverage. Is this true or false? Well, we've just discussed that that's false because they can defer that because they have creditable coverage elsewhere. So when we look at some of the different programs that help people pay for Medicare, very pertinent for folks that are perhaps on an ACA program and are receiving assistance to pay for it, which is a whole bunch of individuals that are on that program. Medicare savings programs help. This is help delivered from the state that the person resides in and paying those costs, and is available for folks that qualify with certain income and resources limitations. And there are also higher income and resources than full Medicaid and are helpful, particularly for the folks that add that premium tax credits or cost sharing reductions within the marketplace. There are different levels of assistance here. We have programs that lay this out for you as agents to help people qualify for these programs. And they include the qualified Medicare beneficiary status, the QIMBYs, the specified low-income Medicare beneficiaries, the SLIMBYs, the qualifying individuals, no cute pronunciation here for QI. And then there are the qualified disabled and working individuals, the QDWI folks as well. Each of these programs offer different levels of support, and a person must qualify and apply for these assistance programs. The extra help for drug costs, this is separate from these programs where they are dealing with the medical portion of a person's expenses. This deals with the cost of the medications, the standardized prescription drug programs. These are programs that help pay for Medicare prescription drug costs for folks that have limited income and resources. The lowest income and resources pay no premiums or deductible and small or no copayments. Slightly higher individuals may pay a reduced deductible and a little more out of pocket, but there's no coverage gap or late enrollment penalty if a person qualifies for this assistance. We spoke of the penalty that person has if they're adding a standalone prescription drug program later than when they were first eligible, and that penalty follows them. Well, this takes care of that penalty. This is a continuous special election period, a SEP that goes throughout the year, a one choice through each of the quarters, the first 3 quarters of the year, then applied into the general annual election period in the 4th quarter. Qualifying for extra help, well, these are individuals that may see that assistance come to them in a number of different fashions, where they may qualify automatically if they have full Medicaid, SSI, supplemental and security income, and get help paying from Medicaid for the Part B premium through one of the MSPs. So these folks have it rolled into those additional assistance programs. All others must apply. They can do so through the Social Security website, or by calling Social Security, or contacting the state Medicaid office, or work with a local organization like a state health insurance assistance program, the SHIP programs, or they can work through agents such as yourself who know what they're doing in helping people get this assistance, which is compliant behavior. And you can actually go online and help them with the application compliantly. If a person has questions as to whether or not they qualify for help with their Medicare cost, if they think they might qualify, we need to review the income and resource guidelines for the different programs. And you need to collect certain personal documents like the Medicare card, verification of identity, residence, and income. The other questions that are asked are actually pulled by the government through different sources. You can get additional information through the Medicaid office or through those SHIP programs as well, or once again, through qualified agents who know how to do that. So when we do a knowledge check here, you automatically qualify for extra help for Medicare prescription drug costs if you get help from Medicaid paying your Part B premium through an MSP, a Medicare savings plan. Is this true or false? We just noticed in a previous slide that that is true. Let's look at the Medicare Periodic Data Matching Program, the PDM. What the heck are we talking about here, John? Well, what we're doing here is we're looking at a process that identifies whether a person is enrolled in the Medicare Part A or Medicare Advantage or Marketplace coverage by matching that enrollment data. The individual is notified by Marketplace if you have Medicare and a Marketplace plan and are receiving premium tax credits or cost sharing reductions. So these notices will include the individual's name, a recommendation that the Marketplace coverage should end, and instructions on how to end that coverage and or the financial help if they're enrolled in a Medicare Part A or Medicare Advantage plan. It also gives us the information for the contacts to confirm that if you're enrolled or have any questions about Medicare. So it's notification, data mining in a manner of speaking, to get the details that the affected individual will need. This program will end premium tax credits and or cost sharing reductions for the individual if they're enrolled in Medicare and the Marketplace. The federal Marketplace added an attestation statement to the application to act on your behalf and end coverages. So a fairly simple process there. If the individual has both Medicare and a Marketplace plan, you have 30 days to return to the Marketplace to either end the premium tax credits or the Marketplace plan should they choose to do so. They will receive specific instructions in the notice based on the Medicare Medicare enrollment status. Important because that brings into play the folks that have exceptions. It also gives the individual the option to disagree with the results of that data, if they think they aren't enrolled in Medicare, or change the attestation response from agree to disagree if you no longer want the Marketplace to end your coverage. You can take back the permission for Marketplace to end coverage, and Marketplace will end premium tax credits and or cost sharing reductions after 30 days. So they'll stay in the program, but they lose their tax credit for it. The equitable relief from late enrollment penalties deals with if a person has a premium-free Part A, but not Part B on or before June 30th, 2020. Well, that's a couple years ago now. And they have the notice, they may have a special opportunity called equitable relief to sign up for Part B without that late enrollment penalty. And if they meet the eligibility criteria, they can request this equitable relief even after that date. Brings us into play here and gives us the opportunity to advise people to visit the local Social Security office or call the Social Security number to request removal or reduction of their Part B penalty. If, as part of that process, they must show that premium, that PDM notice and or other forms of acceptable documentation to do so. A way to get rid of that penalty. Knowledge check here. If you have a Marketplace plan, you're eligible for premium tax credits and cost sharing reductions, even if you have Medicare. We've beaten it to death where, nope, you don't. You lose those credits. Some things that are very helpful as well, both for the public and for us, are the resources on the ways to connect with the Marketplace, the Medicare resources and other resources available to people affected by this situation. So there are a number of ways to connect with the marketplace. For folks that are active in this market, you're well aware of these, but you can get updates through healthcare.gov and subscribe to it. You get some lovely emails, and they'll come to you in English or Spanish. You have Twitter updates that are available as well, Facebook informational updates, YouTube, the health insurance blog, and a number of different resources for the general public. There is training for agents, brokers, navigators, in-person assisters, or certified application counselors, and a federally facilitated or state partnership marketplace as well. So these are great resources for us to utilize as well, because it gives us the detail we need as to understanding how this population is being communicated with by our government. Some of the Medicare process product information for those of us active in this market to a great degree. Well, you can get information from SHIP, the State Health Insurance Assistance Program, either through their website or through contacting Medicare at the Medicare 800 number, through Facebook on Medicare's website, and Medicare and Marketplace FAQs are here for us, a great tool for us in this circumstance, and the Medicare and Health Insurance Marketplace fact sheet and SHIP and Navigator fact sheet. So some information we have that will not only answer our questions, but validate where we're getting those answers for the folks that we're visiting with that are in these circumstances. Some other things that can come into play that can be really helpful in this area are looking up the different information through marketplace.cms.gov for applications and forms, healthcare.gov, medicaid.gov, InsureKids Now, socialsecurity.gov, and the CMS national training programs for us as agents. And that's where this presentation originated, with a number of other presentations that are available to you as well in that area. There's some key points to remember about Medicare and the marketplace. Medicare is not part of marketplace. And for most folks, most of the time, it's best to have Medicare. You don't want to use those superlatives when talking about Medicare, but hey, if a person already has Medicare, they probably can't enroll in the marketplace. If they have premium free Part A and they keep their marketplace plan, that individual will have to pay full price for that marketplace plan premiums. And if a person needs to return to marketplace, they got to do so to end those premium tax credits. If they're not eligible for them, and they'll get them back. Some additional key points: if an individual doesn't enroll in Medicare Part A, if they had to buy it, and Part B during the initial enrollment period, they may have those late enrollment penalties when they do decide to enroll, and there may be a gap in their coverage if they have to wait until Medicare's general election period, at January through March, to enroll in the Medicare program, and it's not effective in July until July 1st of that year. So there are fairly serious ramifications on missing the timing. If the individual has marketplace coverage and later becomes eligible for premium free Part A, they may be responsible for paying back any premium tax credits received after becoming eligible for premium free Part A. So that timing is also important when canceling the marketplace plan, because it has both coverage and financial ramifications. We have a mini acronym guide for folks as part of this presentation. Keeping in mind, we have the full acronym guide from CMS that was shown earlier that has over 4,420 by now different definitions. To stay connected and make certain that we feel comfortable with changes that are brought about by the program, if any, or to re-review some additional pieces that come available, we cannot more than vociferously, and looking to use that word, make use of the CMS National Training Program to make certain there aren't updates on some of these different pieces. And you can get additional training directly through the government as well. So let's check for some questions to make certain that I've covered different things. First two: Does the person that cancels their ACA coverage plan through the carrier also has to call ACA to cancel once she reaches the age of 65 and her Medicare plan starts? That depends upon whether or not that individual is receiving those premium tax credit subsidies for the cost of the plan. They have to call in and cancel those, or they will have some challenges when the government finds out about it through that PDM program and looks to recover those subsidies. Boy, brain went dead there trying to think of the word. I think that is the extent of the questions at this point in time. Some of the things that you get from Premier as to why you would work through us specifically for this is when we go in and we address the different needs of our prospects and clients, we may have a need for additional programs to satisfy that need. One way of saying we might have to contract with additional companies to deliver upon the services necessary. And for many of the programs, there may be a direct electronic enrollment link to that carrier, which expedites process, or there may be circumstances where you set up an agent profile with InsureLC, Insurance Bay, and you're then able to electronically contract with multiple carriers more simply. Creating that agent profile also gives you the opportunity to have a central point for your errors and omissions coverage. You're answering the different questions that are asked by the different carriers to qualify or to contract for their coverages. So it's all right there in one spot for you. We do offer discounted errors and omissions coverage for qualified agents. What makes you a qualified agent? You got a contract with us. But this is a program that you own. It's not like being added to a blanket E&O policy for just one program, and then you got to figure out how to cover yourself for other programs that aren't part of that blanket coverage. And this also helps with some of the variable products that are becoming increasingly difficult to have the E&O for. Good prices. It allows you to contract with different insurance companies and satisfy that E&O requirement, regardless of whom you contract through. We're a very large organization, but we don't have every carrier and every coverage. I don't know of anyone out there that does. And if they purport to do so, well, they're probably just missing something. This helps you regardless of what product within the scope you are contracting for and through whom. We do also offer multi-course online CE bundles through our association with WebCE. So we have the discounted continuing education programs to help you keep that license in play. And you can actually add to your own benefit package through a modified guarantee issued disability income plan in which you are paid a commission. Much like where today's presentation is being recorded, past presentations have been as well. So when we go into some of the information you need on the different assistance programs for Medicare, the LIS and MSP programs, low income subsidy, Medicare savings plans, past presentations are available for you 24/7 for all these types of programs through our website and through our YouTube channel 24/7. We also offer a great assistance program at no cost to you as an agent. I'm an old MA agent, so I have a hard time with the word free, but it's free. You contract with us, you have access to Medicare Center, which provides access to multiple quoting engines, other tools through a singular logon. You have side-by-side plan comparisons that you can send out compliantly at your discretion and at your direction. And you can collect those scopes of appointments through multiple methods and compliance storage for that 10-year period if you sell that individual or not. Because, hey, you got to do that even if you don't sell them. It also gives you a database, a CRM, for you to work your client base and has other resources available to you as well to make certain that you have access to perhaps telephone scripts, other things that can help you sell on an ongoing basis. We also have a page on our website that includes the incentives for the different programs. Medicare Advantage and PDP programs, they have a max comp set by the government. Most carriers offer that, so there aren't any incentives necessarily of the common ilk in that, but there are programs out there for Medicare Supplements and other ancillary products that can really affect your income, help you qualify for trips, and even incentive programs from Premier itself. Let's see, I had another question pop up. Pardon me. What if the spouse is still in ACA and the other in Medicare? Should the spouse continue the ACA? Does the person call the market to keep for just one person? As part of that discussion in disenrolling a person from a marketplace plan going into a Medicare program, they're going to cancel that if it's a group plan that they were on, or a family plan for the ACA program. They would have to, that program would go to the wayside, and they would have to create new coverage as an individual. So it does have ramifications for the spouse and dependent children as well. We do offer a multitude of different lead programs. You can still smile and dial for certain programs, and we have contact lists made available to you at low or no cost. We do help specifically market to folks through centers of influence in the community. So that includes the retail marketing programs like Walmart, carrier type of programs there, programs you create on your own, help direction on to maximize those benefits. We have a webinar coming up on that actually here very quickly. We also address working with and through faith-based organizations and through providers, reaching into the community to help find and help the individuals that aren't responding to other marketing outreach. Sometimes carriers will generate prospects for us as well, most commonly within the organizations that are offering Medicare Advantage and PDP programs. That's kind of a quid pro quo. They're going to work with folks that have worked with them. We do have internet, social media lead programs, direct mail support, a T65 locator, which is really cool, and a referral program that helps you keep this valuable means of growing your prospects through just asking repeatedly and when. Can we mention this CE website as well? Yes, that's webce.com/Premier SMI. And this presentation, of course, is going to be made available on our website and the YouTube channel. So you have an opportunity, if my caffeine has got me talking too fast, for you to catch that. webce.com/Premier SMI. The lead programs that we're offering for direct mail, it's a discounted program based, or cost discount program based on production. Two different ways to qualify. One for the health and programs, so Medicare Supplements, ancillary programs, base Medicare programs, and then of course the final expense program, which can deeply discount a direct mail program based on production as well. We do so through preferred lead vendors. We vet these organizations to make certain that they have the support programs out there for you, a CRM to access your returns as quickly as possible, and we vet the correspondence going out to help make certain that you can stay compliant. We also have a program that comes into play for folks that don't want to direct an entire mail program. Maybe it doesn't fit into their budget at that particular point in time. You also have direct mail response programs through one of our partners that allows us access to prospects on return direct mail leads that have never been touched, still fresh, and give you an opportunity to purchase those to fill in the holes in your calendar or use it as a regular part of your marketing program. Keep in mind, these costs will vary. What's that mean, John? Well, that means that these prices can be different in different parts of the country, different times of the year. It's a supply and demand type of pricing, but this is as high a cost as I have seen for these direct mail leads. The Facebook internet leads are available in a couple of different fashions, once again, for final expense and Medicare leads as well. The thing with social media leads is, yes, you can get them very quickly, but you also have to respond very quickly. And this is a very determining factor as to how you work these leads. You got to really stay on top of these quickly. And then, of course, that referral program is not just for the people that you're meeting now to sell. It's to keep your book engaged as well and make certain that we are gleaning leads from whatever source is possible. It's also a great way to stay in touch with your book of business. So what we're looking to do across the board as our organization is not active in the under 65 market is make certain that as you add Medicare product to your portfolio, or you are working Medicare now and run across these individuals, we want to help you with that business. And we're asking for it and making certain that it can become a regular part of your personal marketing plan. It brings into play a lot of agents that we don't work with on a regular basis. The under 65 folks are the people working with small group. You're in one of those groups or you're running across these individuals, we need to be prepared to address these individuals, make it part of our marketing plan, and get on it. It's a simple thing to add or a practical thing to add in most circumstances, and we want to help you there. So all that said and done, at this point in time, I'm going to check one more time to see if there are any additional questions that I haven't covered. Oh, we've addressed them all. I want to thank you guys for coming online with us today. I appreciate those of you that have done business with us in the past. Thank you for that business. You looking to expand the scope of working with us in that area, I thank you for that as well. For those of you that haven't been involved with our organization but are examining that possibility, I thank you for that opportunity as well. But I must really thank you for spending one of your most valuable resources, your time, with us here today. So until we are able to speak with you again at this time, I'm going to wish you good selling. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you very, very soon. Have a great day.